The Presidential Electoral Petitions Tribunal has affirmed the victory of the All Congress candidate Bola Tinubu in the February 2023 presidential election. The petitions court delivered a 12-hour marathon judgment throwing out the APM and the LP. The panel also clearly affirmed the victory of Tinubu, accordingly lacks merit, affirmed the return of Bola Tinubu as the duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, adding that the parties are to bear the cost. Then called on its main rivals, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), as well as Peter Obi of the Labour Party (LP), to support his administration and urge his valiant challenges to inspire their supporters in the spirit of patriotism. President Tinubu thanked Nigerians for the mandate given to him to serve as on the member bench led by Justice Haruna Samani in interpreting the law. In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's lead counsel, Chris Uche, has said the legal team has been ordered to appeal against the unanimous judgment of the victory of President Bola Tinubu. Uche, who expressed disappointment over the ruling, said his clients are in elections. Electoral Petitions Tribunal that the PDP's acting national chairman, Ambassador Uman Damago, said they will be addressing the world press on the development. The conference bill to hold at the NEC Hall, located on the ground floor of the PDP national headquarters, will start by 2:30 p.m. The legal advisor to the Labour Party, Kende Edun, said the judgments by the tribunal will be further addressed.
The tribunal is at work and they are delivering their judgment today. I think the best approach to take is we must respect the rule of law. We must accept whatever verdict comes out of the tribunal, because that's how we build a civilized, progressive society. If we say democracy doesn't work, then try anarchy, try a state of anarchy and see what you got. So my own personal opinion is we are a work in progress. We are a nation that is a work in progress. So we make the best of what we have. The elections couldn't have been perfect. Elections are not perfect anywhere in the world. But we had what I think was a decent outing.
The case is even decided before the tribunal. Before they state anything, I will tell you why I say it's already decided. And look at what he strikes out. Look at what he's saying. That Shetima is qualified, that Tinubu is no criminal thing against him. Now, it's easy to say that as a judge. It's just like questions I believe, I disbelieve. What are the bases of your belief?
I believe that those who were not positively inclined today, that is those who lost, will have to go to the Supreme Court. It is to our own advantage to get everything straightened up to the Supreme Court so that we can have very urgent electoral law. We are testing the electoral law. We are testing our constitution. And so as Democrats, whatever the Supreme Court says, we must accept.
Away from election judgment stories to other stories across the globe, residents of Ikari Akoko in Akoko Northwest local government area of Ondo State have expressed joy over the economic impact of the dualization of Ikari Township Road. The road, which has for a long time posed threat to lives of people, has however accorded the ancient town the status of a city. Osrc reporter Joy Pius has details.
Ikare Akoko is a commercial nerve of the 4 Akoko local government areas in the northern senatorial district of Ondo State. For decades, the people of Ikare Akoko lived in fear of the hilly road known as Okeala-Bojuto, as it had claimed many lives through accidents. Succor, however, came when the present administration attended to making it a dual carriageway.
Before, people are struggling when they are moving from one place to other because of this, so are too bad. The place that we can spend an hour, we have to spend 2 hours before we get to that place. They are doing it very well. We even thank the governor of the Ondo State that is even trying, because he joined hands together with the government to see that this road is even moving very well. People are traveling up and down and they are moving free.
Ìkàrẹ́ ṣèǹjì sí dáadáa azẹ́ǹtì ó ti dínkù, wọn kò sẹ̀ sí azẹ́ǹtì mọ́ torí ìgbà tí wọ́n ti ṣe ojú ọ̀nà yẹn ní Òkèlábí tó tí ó wà lókè ńbẹ̀ yẹn mi ò rò pé bóyá wọ́n fi rí ọ̀sẹ̀ kan náà kí mọ́tò má lázẹ́ǹtì káwọn èèyàn kú bẹ̀tẹ̀ àtìgbà tó ti ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ wá stop.
àtìgbà tí ọ̀nà yìí ò tí ì sí oríṣiríṣi accident ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lóòrèkóòrè. Tẹ́lẹ̀ òkè wà kò sọ́jà kò sí nǹkan kan, but báyìí àtúndúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé ó ti yàtọ̀ látìgbà tó ti ṣojú ọ̀nà.
Aside the fatalities that plagued the road, economic fortunes dwindled as the agrarian communities found it difficult to bring farm produce to the markets due to poor road network. The construction from Okeala-Bojuto terminated at 77 round bordering Ikare and Arigidi Akoko. Residents say the well-paved road has impacted economic activities in the area as businesses are springing up along the road.
Through the repairment of the road, we can see that it is easy for a vehicle to ply on it to carry our food product from the farm. When you go to the market area, you see we have surplus food, food stuff in the market.
Àwọn èèyàn bí àwọn eréko tí wọn kì í kó ọjà wá sí Ìkàrẹ́ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó ti ṣe ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kó ọjà wá sí Ìkàrẹ́ ọjà wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí tà ní wìtìwìtì. Nǹkan tí àkẹ́tì ṣe fún wa ó dáa nípa ọ̀rọ̀ ojú ọ̀nà.
However, our camera lens caught this portion of the road at 77 Junction, where potholes are appearing. Residents are calling for quick repair of the spot to avert greater damage. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
African leaders have proposed new global taxes to fund climate change action. The came in a declaration at the end of the first African Climate Summit in Nairobi. Finyifoluwa Olaleye reports.
Ex of Seitu attended the first African Union Climate Summit said the continent needs to speak with one voice ahead of the UN COP28 meeting in November.
We demand a fair playing ground for our countries to access the investment needed to unlock the potential and translate it into opportunities. We further demand a just multilateral development finance architecture to liberate our economies from odious debt and onerous barriers to necessary financial resources.
Delegates discuss how to unearth untapped resources and translate that to profits. They explore the possibility of Africa having its own carbon markets and impose a carbon tax. The leaders here say all the right things and had big ideas about how to tackle climate change, but the bottom line, it all comes down to money. Hundreds of millions of dollars in investments were pledged for climate-related projects. The continent is suffering from some of the most severe effects of climate change, yet it receives 12% of the funding it needs to cope.
We've seen many pledges made on the floor. We've seen announcements made. And even before today, there were announcements made on delivering climate finance to the global south, tune of $100 billion per year, this 14 years ago. So I think what needs to be done is translating those commitments and announcements to tangible actions on the ground.
Many delegates say they are hopeful that the declaration that has been made will hold and its implementation will be taken seriously by member states. Finfolua Olaleye, Osrc News.
Gabon's military has released the post-president Ali Bongo from house arrest, saying he's free to leave the country. Bongo was overthrown by the army last week after he was declared the winner in disputed elections.
The Committee for the Transition and Restoration of Institutions, CTRI, reaffirms that, given his state of health, the former President of the Republic, Ali Bongo Ondimba, is free to move about. He may, if he wishes, for medical checkups.
6 soldiers in the Democratic Republic of the Congo are being tried in a military court for their involvement in the killing of 56 people. The victims were protesting against United Nations peacekeepers. Kemi Sola-Ojomo reports.
6 men tasked with maintaining law and order in Democratic Republic of Congo, facing the full might of the legal system. The senior soldiers, including the colonel and the lieutenant colonel, are on trial in the military court in Goma. The charges among them are crime against humanity.
The action conducted by these soldiers was a systematically planned and targeted attack against very well identified populations. As per army laws and rules, it's clear that the killings perpetrated by these soldiers is a crime against humanity.
The case focuses on the armed forces' response to a protest against UN peacekeeper last week. Dozens of people were killed or wounded when soldiers opened fire with live ammunition to disperse the demonstrators. More than 20 patients are still being treated at a hospital in Goma.
It was a very difficult situation. I believe it's the first time we received 51 patients in more or less 6 hours. Luckily, that day we had 3 surgeons, and so we were able to run 3 operating theaters.
I only realized later that I had been shot in the stomach.
Some families doesn't know their relatives' whereabouts and suspect that they were among the victims. They say the army is keeping a number of bodies in the morgue, refusing to release them. The anti-UN protest was organized by a religious sect called Wazalando, which means patriots. Congolese authorities have banned the group's demonstrations, accusing it of spreading anarchy. The incident further complicates the conflict in eastern Congo, where armed militia fighting each other or against the states have wreaked havoc for decades. Kemi Sola-Ojomo, Osrc News.
A huge manhunt is underway for a former British soldier suspected of terrorism offences after he carried out a daring escape from prison on a food delivery van. Daniel Abel Khalife, who is 21, was in custody at one of London's biggest prison, HMP Wadsworth, after trial, accused of leaving fake bombs at a military base. He is also accused of working for a
head of Wandsworth Prison. Tonight, the jail at the center of one of the most embarrassing escapes since the 1990s, after a former soldier facing serious charges of threats to the state broke out by simply hitching on a ride underneath a food delivery van. His 21-year-old Daniel Khalife, who is accused of a bomb hoax and of collecting information for a hostile state. He was working in the kitchen at Wandsworth Prison when it's 07:50 hours. He escaped through the main gate by hanging on to the underside of a food delivery van. A nationwide manhunt began immediately, but at some point, counter-terrorism detectives decided they needed to go public, appealing for help in tracking him down.
He was, at the time of his escape, wearing red and white check trousers, a white t-shirt and brown boots. He's a 6'2" male who's very slim build but with dark brown hair. So we just appeal to the public to look out for him and call us on 999 if there's any sightings of him.
Daniel Khalif joined the army in 2019, and in 2022, he became the focus of a counter-terrorism investigation. He's accused of being involved in the bomb hoax on the 2nd of January this year, and on the 26th of January, he was arrested. The charges he faced include preparing an act of terrorism and collecting information useful to an enemy believed to be a hostile state.
This is a very serious breach of security, and it throws up a number of questions. I mean, firstly, what was this man doing in Wandsworth Prison? Wandsworth is a Category B reception and resettlement prison, so it's not an obvious place for somebody who's been charged under terrorism offences, potential national security risk.
Nonetheless, the public were affected by the all parts and airports alerts, which led to extra checks. This, in turn, led to huge queues building up at airports, including Stranded, Katwijk, Heathrow, Manchester,